Perfect. This is second assignment one. All right. So today we're going to have the assignment discussion lecture. What we're going to discuss in today's lecture is the leadership and management assignments. We have two assignments. So this is the first one. Going to give a quick introduction and then go through the details in depth. Obviously, if you have any doubts, please feel free to stop me immediately. The first assignment covers LO1 and 2, and the second one obviously covers LO3 and 4. So what we went through in this unit, we essentially went through what leadership is, management is, different styles of leadership, different styles of management, how HR plays a role between both of these as well. How you can be, a new person in the company, how does it feel? So this assignment revolves around that itself. It speaks about someone, newly hired, and how they have to get the work done and what all they need to complete in their assignment essentially after the training is completed. So it obviously is linked to leadership and management because it also explains how a good leader would guide, a new associate when he comes in, or how a good manager would, just support a new joinee. Sorry, my throat's a little this thing, just bear with me.
No worries.
Oh, thank you. How a new joinee would basically be supported in the organization. Like I mentioned in the lectures before, that, in one of the organizations I went, one thing I liked was they had assigned buddies to their new joinees. So, for example, you are joining a company as, say an analyst, okay? There might be another analyst that they'll assign as your buddy, so that because when someone joins new, they might ask certain things, to the managers and stuff, and the managers might not have firstly enough time. And also, it's scary to ask your managers basic things. So having a buddy or having a friend assigned at the same level would just, make things easier or make things less scary and intimidating, because that person is doing the same job role that you are, same position as you are essentially, and is gonna, show you around. Maybe even if he shows the basic things or she shows the basic things, around the office or stuff like that. So that was a good initiative or a way in which new joinees are supported. Anyways, coming back to this assignment. So again, introduction that I was mentioning, we spoke about different, leadership and management skills, how it helps, the company's growth, good management style and leadership style, how leaders can push all of their associates into basically, performing better, bringing the best out of them. We also mentioned hard skills and soft skills. Do you remember hard HRM and soft HRM, Ishika?
No.
No problem. So hard HRM was essentially um, when leaders are more focused on getting tasks done, and just, for example, they're just assigning you tasks, they're continuously wanting you and pushing you to do more than what you can do, and not worrying about how that would make you personally feel. They're only task driven, and how you can get things checklisted out of the box basically. Whereas soft HRM or soft skills would eventually mean that they, before assigning tasks, they probably have a discussion with you. They understand if you would even be comfortable enough to do this task. They look at your emotions or consider your emotions when they're assigning tasks to you. Example, if you have a lot of workload, they understand that you don't want to be too overwhelmed, so they might not assign more. So that's difference between hard and soft leadership skills or HRM skills essentially. So it says that they say that, a leader should have a mix of both, because yes, a leader needs to assign tasks, but at the same time needs to be compassionate, needs to understand what the associates need, take their feedback on board as well. So a leader should usually have a mix of both. Whereas, so basically it's saying that those skills are going to help, and also it helps in filling the gaps in recruitment. So recruitment is very time consuming and also very costly. because you essentially need to put so many resources into that. You have an entire team dedicated to hiring, say 5 people. They are spending, weeks looking through CVs, sorting CVs out, having interviews with potential candidates, having, meetings with them, just discussing, or basically recruitment starts with the bottom as well. It starts with making the entire job role, then seeing how that person would fit in this specific team. So there's a lot of skills that goes in recruitment as well. And that would eventually help in leadership and management. Because if you have the correct person in the place, it gets easier for leaders or managers to navigate them and show them around and explain them what the tasks of the job is, right? Anyways, in this assignment, what you're going to do is you're going to look at all of the behaviors and characteristics that would help in supporting effective management and leadership. And you've already learned about different theories in leadership and management that basically help or are like a little guide through the managers and leaders that make sure that they're running the business successfully. Obviously, as I mentioned when I was explaining you the theories, that it might not one theory might work for one organization straight up. They might have to take a mix of different theories or might have to modify their theories based on their um, requirements as well in the business. Like every business functions differently. So obviously not one theory would eventually be used in the job role directly. And you remember we also spoke about different leadership styles. There were 5-6 leadership styles we went through and how efficient they are. And how managers or how leaders use different leadership styles, or may also use a mix of leadership styles if required. And we also went through some motivation strategies yesterday. So we went through a lot of models and, leadership styles, motivation strategies. We went through a lot of it. And that's eventually just going to, help in making sure that the business has continuous improvement and also sticking to the organization's goals. Now, obviously, it's some general information, just going to skim through this. You have access to Moodle, so everything is available over there. If you have something that you need, apart from, for example, an ebook or, a handout that's not uploaded on Moodle, but you think you need that for an assignment, just send us an email and we might be able to upload that on Moodle. Just going to scroll down. All right. So the format for this assignment is essentially in a case study report. So you basically have to use Harvard style referencing. You are already aware of that. You are aware of what Harvard style referencing is, right?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So obviously need to do it in Harvard style referencing. Word limit is given to you, 2000 to 2500. What a case study report eventually is basically just studying in depth or an intensive study eventually about a specific, about the topic that we're going to do. So you're going through, or you break it down into various parts, basically a case study report. And basically you start with what the problem is, then you go on how you're going to, find different ways or different solutions to that problem and what you can do towards that problem. And then you make a report eventually stating that what happened after you started implementing those strategies into place for your problem. That is a case study report in short. You already know what Harvard referencing is, so that's absolutely perfect. You are aware that we run our assignments through a plagiarism software. Plagiarism should be less than 20% here at UK Versity. I think you already know all of this. You have submitted assignments previously, right? There are some...
Yes.
Okay. There are some textbooks and, articles, ebooks already available over here. There would be some uploaded on Moodle as well. So make sure you're going through that. While paraphrasing, just remember that you are not picking up the same lines from the textbook or the journals and assignment. You're just modifying it into your language. So eventually meaning if the textbook says, my name is Ishika, maybe you paraphrase it into your words and write, like, my parents name me Ishika, all right? So that is paraphrasing, that's taking information from a textbook and just using or saying it in your own words. Like you read something online and then you modify it, when you're explaining it to someone, you're explaining it in your own words. So that eventually is paraphrasing, but you still have to give credits to the author. So that is proper referencing or Howard referencing when you need to follow. Yeah, so some recommended textbooks, some journals and articles that are already listed down over here. So you can, have that guide. Coming on the actual scenario or the assignment. So in learning outcome number 1, we went through different leadership styles, the management theories, and how it, helps in the organization goals. In LO2, we went through how, there's these different styles, again, influence not just the working of the organization, but also the culture of the organization. So we covered that bit. For this assignment, what you need to do is, so you're researching a company, say Michael Page. So it's a company in the UK, which eventually is a technological driven company. And they look at getting the most talented associates on board eventually, so that they have, if you have the best of the mix in the market, your company will eventually grow and do better, right? Logically, that should happen. If you have the cream crowd, then your business is going to do better because they are the best of the best. Sorry. So what you need to do is, since their goals are basically already getting the best talent to gain an advantage over its competitors, and basically increase the organization's performance by sticking to the organization goals, right? What happens is that you need to see that the candidates are the person, like whoever is coming in the company is the perfect match for obviously the job role that they're coming in, as well as the company, because the company looks at specific traits in their candidates. So this is just a background, obviously. And they are already specializing in recruiting, managers and leadership positions, board positions, because hiring in such high positions requires a lot of screening through. You have to do a lot of background checks. You have to make sure that you're hiring the correct person, because um, when someone's coming at a leadership position, you would expect or you would want them to stick for a longer time, because just simply because, you know, it it's not healthy or not good for the organization to have leaders changing again and again. So it also has clients that's ranging from multinational and listed organizations throughout the region, and also public and non-profit, not-for-profit sectors that are there. So eventually it helps in recruiting. So that's why it might help in recruiting for different companies throughout. You have, like it says over here, SMCs, startups, public, not-for-profit sectors, every little sector, they specialize in recruiting. Now, you have started working. So for the project, basically, you have started working as trainee executive search consultant, which eventually is that how you can recruit new candidates by using different, platforms on social media. You might use LinkedIn search. You might, advertise your company on, say, Instagram or something, basically using the search engine optimization to make sure that you are reaching the correct target audience. So as a trainee executive consultant, you are obviously in charge of recruiting, but you're using social media platforms for doing that. And wait, let me just scroll down. And also making sure that your candidates are fulfilling the employees' needs, or for example, the different organizations that you're working for hiring candidates, they're meeting their needs. So for that, obviously, if I'm looking at hiring for, say, Apple, all right, what I'm going to look at the leadership style there, the management skills, what all is required for that job role or that person to work with Apple. And then obviously you're going to be going through different CVs. You're going to interview them, see if they have the skills or capabilities and are they even fit for the job. Because when you're hiring someone, you would obviously want to get it right in the first go itself. So that's why conduct many interviews, do many screenings before you actually make sure that, you have chosen your correct candidate. But since you're a new trainee into recruiting, you have been completing onboarding as well, so that you understand the leadership and management of that organization. And you basically have to take a case study report for the organization, wherein you're focusing on a large organization of your choice and also making sure that you're seeing what their leadership and management theories are. So in the case study, you're not just looking at what the organization is, but also focusing on the, which style of management or leadership they are using, because that's going to basically influence your decision as well. So that, for example, if you're hiring someone in, say, an organization which the leadership style is autocratic, the leaders let you do what you want to do, you have more authority in terms of deciding what job you need to perform today. So that's all good. But there might be some organizations wherein you have a dictatorship style leadership, wherein you want associates who just quietly listen and get the job done. So when you're hiring, you might look at such kind of skill sets as well. In an autocratic organization, obviously you're going to look at someone who is independent, who can be or do their job without any help, or independently just complete their tasks. Whereas if you're looking for a dictatorship organization, you might want someone who just you know gets basically gets on with whatever is assigned to them, and is good at their task, has the skill sets, but at the same time wouldn't be bored with doing the same tasks again if they're assigned to them. So that's how you need to focus, not just on the organization, but also what style of management and which theory of management they're using. So you need to see the different models that we went through, what model that they're going to use. Some, like we spoke about, the theory X and Y model. So maybe this organization might focus on theory Y, wherein they feel that the associates are very motivated and can do their job themselves. So that's an autocratic style of leadership again. But yeah, that would eventually decide it would impact on your decision as well. You obviously would be, say, a little, I don't know, a little more looking for the right candidate. You're going to keep all these things in mind. You're going to be more cautious, basically, to make sure that you're fulfilling not just the job role of the candidate having the skills, but also personally, how does the candidate function in a leadership style that is a dictatorship style, all right? Now, your report should include, obviously, as I mentioned, a research into the leadership and management theories and how it's applied in the job or the workplace, and how it is basically linking with the organization's goals as well. Then you need to compare and other two organizational examples. So basically, for example, if in this specific organization, say Apple, all right, autocratic style is used, you need to take another organization where, maybe a dictatorship style of leadership is used, and how does it work for them versus how does it work for the organization you have chosen. And because of the different styles, how the business reacts in different situations. So for example, there was a cut in a lot of job roles happening last year because people were trying to reduce costs, but fintech companies or technological companies were actually not facing that issue. They were facing a shortage of labor eventually, in fact. So they did not want to cut costs. In fact, they want to hire more, and they were not able to. So different businesses react differently in different situations. It depends on the style of the business and also the leadership style of the business. You might have a leader who is good at keeping peace and harmony. So that's why in COVID, he still could get all of the tasks done by his associate. Whereas another leader might not be able to understand or grasp, how to function properly during COVID. That's why so many companies had to shut down. So obviously it varies in different situations and leaderships and management style as well. How you have also looked through different leadership and management approaches and look at how effective they are. And for the role that you're hiring, that leadership and management style, how much influence does it have on the culture and performance of the organization as well? Now, a report should also have all of these points. So, what a leader and manager is, hard versus soft skills. We go through various leadership theories that, basically we went through in the lectures and how effective they are in decision making. Also, you can compare different leadership and management activities and, how important organization culture is. And obviously, reflection on, because of this leadership style, this is how the organization functions. But if it were to do a little things differently, it might work in a different way. So these are all of the points you need to complete for assignment number 1 of 2 for learning outcome number 1 and 2. Do you have any questions as of now?
No.
Perfect. So this table is just going to show you that you have a pass, merit, and distinction in your assignment. Obviously, if you feel you just want to complete the pass sections and get done with your assignment quickly, feel free to do that. If you feel you want to go the extra mile and focus on the distinction sections as well, so that's when you need to complete this column as well. So the pass sections are quite straightforward. Everything that we went through is basically listed down here. And merit and distinction might have on this what you have to work on. For example, if you have to discuss the leadership theories and how it works in, the organizations, you might also have to, for the merit, analyze the impact in terms of the application or how to apply such types of new theories, and also different approaches apart from the theory that's applied. So that's how you look at a distinction stuff as well. Obviously, the column that is empty over here, that doesn't say anything in distinction for LO2, you're still going to get a distinction if you complete everything in the merit section. Is this clear as of now?
Yes.
Perfect. So these are just some general guidelines. I think you're already familiar with it. Make sure you're, referencing your work correctly using Harvard referencing. Word limit is set. You're sticking to the word limit events, basically. Your, crisp, clean assignments, not jumbled up, have proper spacing between your lines. So these are just some basic guidelines. Are you happy for me to go through the learning, the assignment 2 now? So now we're going to go through the assignment number 2 of this unit. The basic bits remain the same. So these bits are the same that we went through. That's why I said today's lecture would be quite quicker because it's a little repetitive. Again,
Okay.
we're going to work on the different leadership styles, look at the management styles, how and what employers want from their associates, basically. You're going to focus on hard and soft skills that we went through. And again, you're looking at not just leadership styles, but also different motivational theories that has helped. So the introduction is pretty much the same. You have general information, like I mentioned before. You can refer to Moodle. There are stuff available over here or uploaded there. Anything that you need apart from that, send us an email and we'll upload that for you as well. All right. For this, you are submitting a 15-minute long group presentation, actually. So you're also submitting a group presentation, but also you are coming up with a motivational strategy. So your presentation will be submitted as one document. So do you know there is a recorder available on PPT, on PowerPoint? So
Yeah.
you can also use that, or you can put speaker notes down in the bottom as well. So basically, I want to show you how it looks. There's speaker notes here down in the bottom.
Okay.
Perfect. So you can add your individual notes in that bottom as well, and also start an individual reflective statement. So basically, you are going through the entire group presentation, and also you're coming up with an individual motivation strategy, and that is going to be an individual reflective statement of basically 500 words. And you basically are talking about your contribution, or as a group, what you feel about that motivational strategy individually. And obviously the slides should not be more than 12 slides. Make sure that your PowerPoint presentations are quite readable, easy to read, proper headlines, proper bullet points. And again, referencing needs to be through Harvard referencing. You can provide a sheet or basically an extra page for references in the end. How we usually provide, have you seen our presentations, Ishika? We provide like a reference list in the end.
Yeah.
We'll have to provide that as well, but in the
Okay.
PowerPoint itself. So basically the last slide or the last two slides can be that. So there is a word limit, but I would say that because it's a PowerPoint, it wouldn't matter a lot, because you're just, you have bullet points, you're going to go through stuff. So pretty sure that you're going to stick to the word limit eventually. But basically you need to submit a presentation that should last approximately 15 minutes long. Put all of your notes in the bottom of the presentation. Apart from that, also write an individual reflective statement which talks about, what you feel about this motivation theory or this topic. Slides should not be more than 12 slides. Already gone through what Harvard referencing is. You know that plagiarism is, we're going to run your reports to plagiarism software. Plagiarism should be less than 20%. So make sure you're referencing your work correctly. Already some resources are available over here in terms of some ebooks, handouts, some articles, website links as well. That's good. All right, coming to what you have to do now. So we went through learning outcome number 3 and 4, which was how we spoke about different motivational strategies that help in organization performance, and how proper leadership is basically going to help in continuous improvement in the business. So what you're going to do in your assignments, basically what I just explained on the top, if I go in depth, is you basically do a research about the leadership and management, how it functions. So in the previous assignment 1, you already, as a part of your onboarding as a new trainee, what you did was you understood the leadership and motivational strategies of that organization. So you're going to look at it from a point of view wherein how it functions or works when that's in action. And for this, after a bit, it says that you basically have to take part in presenting to this client, to a specific client basically, and you have to come up with a motivational strategy for the business. So you are taking part in a 15-minute group presentation, which shows that how your management techniques can basically help in the organization's improvement or continuous growth. And also you come up with, as I mentioned up, the 500-word individual motivational strategy. So what you think would be the best motivational strategy for this business, that is going to be written in that individual 500-word report. So what we already went through what a motivational strategy is. It looks at how we can get the best out of our associates by probably, pushing them, looking at financial incentives or non-financial incentives. Like I mentioned to you, I think it was LO3 where I mentioned that, you might look at giving a good pension scheme, a good insurance, health insurance, maybe a company car, all of these extra non-financial benefits basically to associates that might be in the age group of 40 to 50, 60 years that are working for organizations in leadership position. Whereas someone who is a fresh or new graduate, someone who is recently joined the business, for them, it might be, good flexible working of work from home benefits, or they might be motivated through different basically looking at, I gave you an example of these point system that we had. So they might be more focused on getting, climbing the ladder quicker, how we can be recognized for the work we're doing. Maybe not, a pension scheme might not necessarily be the only motivating factor for them. It might be these other additional benefits, mental health factors, so many things come into place. So you need to basically come up with a strategy or a motivational plan that is basically how it is going to be working in a successful or basically improve the performance, and also some strategy that might work in a place wherein already the performance is quite good, whereas a strategy might work in a place wherein the performance is not at all good. So how does that strategy work in both these scenarios? You need to come up with that. Do you have any questions as of now?
No.
All right, perfect. So in the presentation, what you're going to do is you're going to firstly research about your client. So you pick out the client, and then your speaker notes and presentation should include these of the following, all right? Firstly, talk about the different motivational theories. We went through those theories already in our presentations, how it can help in improving performance, in having, getting your associates to do their best, continuously making sure that they're improving and developing in the organization. Then you can also give some examples of, performance management approaches in your presentation. Speak about different leadership theories, management theories, and how they help in supporting performance and, basically supporting their associates into, pushing them into doing better. And obviously give some, recommendations in terms of how they can not just implement this strategy, but also continuously look at improvement throughout. So, sometimes what businesses do is they're putting or implementing a specific strategy and they're like, you know what, now that's it. That's absolutely fine. That's not how it works. You need to continuously monitor it, make sure that, you need to give new improvements to it if it's required, as time goes. So that's just one of the recommendations that you can add in your presentation as well. Whereas your motivation strategy should explain properly in depth what what you feel about this specific strategy, how you feel it's going to work in this scenario or in this organization that you've picked up eventually. And also you need to speak about the intrinsic and extrinsic motivation alongside culture strategy. All right. Do you know what intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation is? Sorry, it's difficult to pronounce that word. Are you aware of intrinsic versus extrinsic, Ishika?
No.
No problem at all. So you need to consider, how does this motivation strategy work in an organization wherein intrinsic motivation is very similar to the theory X and Y that we had discussed. So intrinsic comes from within or inside. I remember it as in, so inside. Whereas extrinsic is external factors that are motivating you, because X, so that's how I remember it. When you are basically intrinsically motivated, what happens is you would like to do that specific activity. For example, if employees are in a job role that they enjoy, it's easier to motivate them because they already, are having a great time doing these tasks, all right? Whereas extrinsic motivation might be a little more difficult because your employees are not really focused into getting the task done. They might not really enjoy their job role. So how does your strategy help in both these scenarios? You need to come up with that as well. And how motivation works along different, different cultures, different organizations. We spoke about how every organization has a different culture. So how does it work over there? And it should basically be a strategy or a motivation strategy that is quite easy to not just implement, but also easily works in different culture or different scenarios as well. Obviously, appropriate literature, you need to explain how clear, how the strategy supports the achievement of the organization objectives. So how does this strategy push the organization to do better, which in turn helps in achieving the organization goals? That's simply what you need to explain over here. And also link between strategy and, better organization performance. So you need to make sure that you link that. Again, there's a table. You have pass, merit, and distinction. Obviously, it's the same. Everything that you complete in the pass section, you will just simply looking at getting a pass. If you want to go the extra mile, make sure you're completing the distinction or the merit and distinction columns as well. General, advice or guidelines remain the same. You have, your word limit set over here. There's everything that's, very straightforward, which was in the previous assignment as well. So you have all of this information. You have any questions as of now?
No.
Perfect. This is actually the end of the lecture because we were supposed to discuss both these assignments and gone in depth with it.
Okay.
So you can start at doing your assignments as well. Amandeep might help you if you need any resources or extra information available.
Okay.
Perfect, Ishika. Thank you for your time today. Hope this was helpful.
Thank you.
You have a great day. Bye.